This is Hannibal here from the Hannibal TV on YouTube. And today I'm going to review a poll that I did only about a day ago on the worst quote unquote major wrestling leagues. None of these leagues have like a major television show on a major network like Ring of Honor, Major League Wrestling, NWA, New Japan, USA. None of them have like television shows on any. If they, I think MLW might be at some places in the world syndicated and on some small channels. I know NWA isn't. They're going on Roku, which to me is not television. You might be able to watch it on television, but you can watch YouTube on television. I watch YouTube on television all day. To me, that's nothing to celebrate. If you've been around that long, Ring of Honor, a lot of people wonder why they even bother with Ring of Honor. It has more money than it's ever had, and it's less popular than it's ever been. There's so many people in that hardly wrestle. I don't know how much the contracts are, but I know they have guys in there like the Dynamite Kid's nephew, but how often do we hear anything about him? Harry Smith felt that he made a mistake going there, but let's actually review what you guys voted. This is completely neutral, but I actually agree with this. Let's review the poll that had over 300 votes in a day. So I think it gives a pretty good spectrum. People overwhelmingly voted that NWA is the worst of the quote unquote major promotions. 41% of you voted NWA is the worst. And I mean, they have almost no buzz about them. I have, by the way, I looked at it. I have more subscribers, and I'm your average person, high school educated, never been in a major promotion. I have more subscribers than both NWA and Billy Corgan himself, which that's pretty damn cool. And I'm a Smashing Pumpkins fan, and I would actually love to be NWA champion one day. But I doubt that will ever happen because I'm just telling the truth of the poll here. This is not a worked poll. MLW is the number two worst promotion. They got that $20 million lawsuit money from Vince, but I don't know. I don't find the show good. I've tried to watch stuff of MLW. They have a fan base that seems to have watched them all along, and it doesn't really go up or down much. MLW, another company that has major funding that I have more YouTube subscribers than. Ring of Honor, owned by Tony Khan, was the number three worst company at 22%. And this is the company that I don't even know how it's working because most of the shows now they're taping Dynamite and Collision on the same night. I don't know if they're still throwing Ring of Honor matches above that 2 hours of taping, but there's been serious problems with people leaving during the Ring of Honor tapings, which is often after the shows. Which why would people? Here's the thing: why not start the show earlier and have the Ring of Honor matches? Say, okay, 6 p.m. is Ring of Honor. 7 p.m. is when AEW starts. To me, that's what I would do. Then the people that don't want to see it will just not show up until the AEW starts. But I think overall more would come if they were to do it before the tapings. That's just my opinion. When I got a media pass to an AEW show last year, that only was maybe 10% of the arena full in Ottawa, which is probably why they never came back. They're only going to Canada once this year. They didn't even go to Calgary for the Owen Cup final. So you have to imagine last year's tour. Not only did they false advertise on every poster, but it bombed overall. Even in Winnipeg, the hometown of Jericho, Kenny Omega, and Don Callis. They're not coming back this year. So what does that say? Those guys couldn't even draw in their own hometown last year. AEW's got so bad. But when I went to that AEW show, first of all, it started like 15 minutes late. Then it was 15 minutes of trailers and teasers playing on the screen. So you have the crowd sitting in there at showtime, expecting to see a show to start, but then the show starts late, and then there's 15 minutes where we're just supposed to watch a video screen instead of like playing the Ring of Honor matches that you played after, because like I would say 30% to 50% of the building left, including me, when the Ring of Honor taping started, because by the time Collision ended, it was 10 p.m. and the show started at 7:30. It's like people are just they've been there for hours. They just want to go home. They don't want to watch the Ring of Honor people that they don't know. They saw Edge. They were expecting Moxley, Jericho, FTR, all these guys that were on the poster. They were not actually there. Paige, I think, was on the poster too. There's a little girl dressed as Paige. None of them actually came. So it's like, okay, we saw Collision. It was disappointing. We're just going to go home. This was long and boring. And then New Japan USA, and I'm not surprised at this, this is the best of the quote-unquote worst leagues. So New Japan is the best. Only 11% said it is the worst of the worst. NWA is the worst. MLW second worst. Ring of Honor third worst. New Japan at an all-time low in Japanese popularity was the worst. Matt says Ring of Honor sucks. I agree. But to me, the one thing I will say about this is probably if I had to sit through any of these, if I had a gun to my head and said, you're going to have to watch a 2-hour show of any of these, I would agree that I would probably watch the New Japan USA. But my preference would be to watch none. My preference would be to watch 80s wrestling, which was my favorite era of wrestling. I would watch any league from the 1980s, even Herb Abrams, which I guess would be considered early 90s. I would rather watch that than any of these 4 leagues, but at least we have them ranked, and I think that's a fair enough ranking. And again, I've heard people say Ring of Honor rarely does shows these days like on their own, unless it's at a place like ECW Arena that doesn't even hold 1,000 people. But a lot of people wonder, why even bother promoting Ring of Honor? Why not just focus on making it the very best brand? Yeah, AEW and Ring of Honor have too many belts, and I believe they've just introduced another AEW belt. If you cannot know who the champions are, if you cannot know who the top champions are, you have too many belts. It's better to just have a few champions and everybody knows who the champions are, in my opinion. Otherwise, it just gets convoluted. But I wish them the best, and I thank everybody who voted.